The three, two, one, and the hello. So, hello. Pee Wee Herman makeup. Hi, my name is Beth. I am the Decluttering Life Coach. And I'm just popping on to TikTok, doing a TikTok live because I like doing them. I like showing up. And if you're struggling with stuff and clutter, I gotcha. Oh my gosh. I collect stuff. I have grown up in a cluttered home. I have cluttered my own home. I am not one of those people that's always been decluttered, but I have found the magic. I found the magic that takes the drama out of it. I have found the magic. Thank you. You're awesome too. And I just want to share it with people. I mean, I'm pretty simple. For years, I've kind of realized that what I love to do, besides taking off my glasses in public, is I like to, if I've discovered something that I'm excited about and it works and I think it might help other people, I love to share it. Literally, it's like, oh my God, you guys, like I used to do that with diners and things like that. And be like, I just found a cool vintage diner, go check it out. I want to, what's that word the kids are using now? Gatekeep? I don't want to gatekeep, I do offer one-on-one coaching. So if you want me and you to just talk for, once on Zoom, once a week on Zoom for an hour for 10 weeks and get your life cracking, I got you. But right now, let's see what we got going. Yeah. So I have been away for a little bit doing some traveling. I love to do traffic. Thank you. Oh, hey, folks. Okay, so I love this. So German made 95. Vacation was awesome. How can vacation not be awesome? I will say came back a little bit, puffier. Need to buy some new clothes because I'm not so fitting into my other ones, but thank you for asking. I love it that you're in the process of decluttering your home and your life, not to do a deho. Rock on with your bad self. Grocery store glam. Oh my God, I feel like that woman. I'm always talking in pop culture references, like Miss Jane on Romper Room, where it's like, oh, I'm seeing familiar faces and voices. This is or names rather. It's so nice. But yeah, I am here to help you get not just your home decluttered, but get your life decluttered. Life is too short to be stressing out about just lame stuff that you bought at a store that doesn't work for you and you got too much of it. Take the drama out of it, have some fun while you're doing it, and just realize decluttering helps you realize literally what's important to you. Do I want to keep it? Do I want to let it go? One thing I want to mention too is when people are signing on, I do not give any visuals. I will talk with my hands. I will point and stuff like that. But here's something that I think is fun is if I am on a TikTok live, you can put your phone down and you can still hear me. And while I am talking about it is you can start to declutter your life. You can just start to go, you know where stuff goes in your house. It's not all overwhelm. So just start to put away the stuff that doesn't belong where it is. Trash in the trash, recycles in the recycles. Do what you can. And by the end of this TikTok live, however long I decide to stay on, you will have decluttered. It's as easy as that. And I will just say, yeah, so if you have any questions, excuse me. If you have any questions, if you're stuck, okay, I love this. Calm Carolyn, thank you. You left me some nice messages. I am so glad that my motivation is helping you. And I love it. Still in the process of fixing up my garage, thanks to you. Still inspired and making progress. People, I got to tell you, and I'm always having to move my big head here because it's always in the way. Inspiration, that feeling of getting excited about where you're going and what it's going to look like when you're there, that is like the high octane fuel in your tank. Okay. That is the stuff that is going to keep you going through those rough patches, those roads that get bumpy, those roads where you're looking and you're like, I don't see an end to this. Oh my God, I'm going to have to drive that far. And you're like, but I want to get to where my house is just organized so I can go out and go on vacation, So Nat Cat Newport Beach, well, I'll offer to you when you say best advice for decluttering is, I don't want to sound life coachy, but I am a life coach, so I'll try. But sometimes, honestly, like the verbiage in life coaching, like just irks me, so I don't want to use it. But I will say, figure out why you're doing it. and make the reason you're doing the decluttering something that's exciting and motivating to you, right? Like, oh my gosh, I just want to live in a house that smells, that looks good and smells good. And when I'm in that space, like think about, here's a fun thing. Think about how you feel like in your house when it's cluttered. Everybody, how do you feel when when your house is cluttered, right? And then, as I say in my coaching, go to opposite land. What's the opposite of that? So if you're stressed out about your house, I just want to feel calm. I want my house to look beautiful. I want to feel good. I want to feel good and calm and quiet and not nagged at by my stuff in my house. Okay? So start with a destination. Every time I start my one-on-one coaching for people, and you know how to, what am I trying to say? Lost my train of thought. I went up on the tree and I fell off. When I do one-on-one coaching, we always start with the destination in mind. So that's what I'm giving you, is it makes such a difference. It makes such a difference. Seriously, I mean, think about, and I did a video of this like last week because I was up at 3 a.m. in the morning. 3 a.m. in the morning, that's kind of redundant. I was up at 3 a.m. getting ready to go to the airport to go on a trip, someplace warm. Where I live is chilly now, someplace warm, and there were going to be friends there. So that motivation of going someplace warm, going on vacation, that was a motivator. If I was up at 3 a.m., same thing, I'm up at 3 a.m., but I was going to work because I had to go in because my boss made me. Think about it. It's the same thing. You're up at 3 a.m., but the energy behind why you're doing it is so different. So create an image of your awesome future, your destination, of just how you want even one room in your house to look and feel. And then that'll get you started, Yeah, see? Okay, so just to, Sassy says, it's like a new fresh beginning. Every time I clean and organize an area, my whole vibe changes, and it does. And I really think that is too, you guys, is because you connect up with the things that are important to you. You're readjusting to say, this isn't working for me. I'm giving it away. I'm going to put it in the recycles. This doesn't work. Oh, you know what? I really like this. I got to put this on a shelf to remind myself that it's right here. I'm going to use it more often. Decluttering is a creative process that the end result isn't just a clean house or an organized house. It's you getting in touch with who you are and what's important to you. Yeah. I don't know if I was the one who said post about Bath and Body. Are they really going under? I don't know. You might have somebody else confused. I have short hair and glasses. I'm a type. I know. So that may be not the right person you're looking for. I hope you find the info. But yes, so decluttering really helps you. Seriously, just figure out what's important to you. Like, do I want, it's so funny because my desk isn't particularly cluttered, but oh my gosh, I love my chapstick. I'm so glad it's here. I'm going to keep it. Versus the chapstick that wasn't working and was aggravating me, so I threw that away. Or, I love this little salt shaker, so I keep it with me. But another one I tried to use it and the salt spilled out. So lesson learned, I didn't use it, So anything, yes, I am. Jen Koala, nice. Yes, I am back. Thank you all. And this is fun to see some familiar, I always want to say voices, but it's not. It's faces. It's not even faces. It's like little names. But here's a fun thing, okay? Today is the first day of March, right? That could be a day where you just said, you know what, I just decided today. You can decide anytime, but today's the first of the month. Why not decide that today's the day that you're going to start to just declutter your house? You're like, this is it. It's getting lighter outside. It's good. I love it. The other thing about the first of the month is I have a Destination Decluttered email list. You can sign up for it on my website, destinationdecluttered.com. And the reason I tell you this is two things. One is, you guys, it's so cool that we can connect up here on TikTok. Do not get me wrong. I have really loved showing up and doing these TikTok lives, but you know what? I can't control what TikTok shows and what they don't. Like, I had a technical glitch the other day and I was like, nobody likes me, whatever. So if you get on my email list, it's just a really easy way for me to stay in touch with everybody who's on the list. You have my email. You are generous enough to give me yours, so I respect that. I do not spam you. The only thing I really share every month is, and this is where when I was saying about seeing your faces and people saying hi from Virginia and nice to see you, things like that. And yeah, A. Nelson, I will totally talk about downsizing dishes and entertaining things, because I was just thinking about that in the shower. But what I want to offer is, today's the first of the month. Today, I'm going to send an email out to everybody on my mailing list with the link for a live Zoom that I'm going to do in March. I do that once a month just for the people on my email mailing list, so that if you have questions about stuff and clutter, instead of me just seeing your name in a tiny little thing and then you're typing it, and it's a way for us to be on that little screen with all the little boxes, right? And you can ask me your question. I can answer your question. Your question may help everybody else on it. And the other one, too, is that you may also get some tips from somebody else's question. And then the other thing, too, it's so nice. Thank you for everybody saying it's so nice to see you. I actually kind of missed doing these, but I promised myself I would create some, I would be in the now on my vacation. But what I will say is this. I'm going to be totally transparent with you. One of the reasons I do these lives is because I have so much information I just want to share with people who are struggling. Do not get me wrong. I will do this all day. But also, I do one-on-one coaching. So I do these lives and I do the Zoom. So you guys can just get a flavor of how I explain things, how I coach, what words I use. I know it's important to find somebody that you connect up with that you're like, oh yeah, I could get along with that person on a road trip, right? So that's one of the reasons I do this, because it made such a difference to me when I was flailing about and unhappy with my life, that I found a book, I found an author who wrote like self-help stuff, but it was funny and I connected up with it and it changed my life. It was probably the same information said different ways in other people's things, but knowing who you're going to be hanging out with and if they can help you, it just means a lot. I'm not corporate. I don't have my little headset with my little thing. And God, I never want to wear a suit again. Thank you very much. But this is another reason why I do it. So if you want to get on my mailing list, I have to figure out when the Zoom is actually going to be. So I'll do that today. And if you know somebody who's struggling with stuff and clutter, please let them know about me. Okay, enough blabbing about this stuff. Let's hit some of these comments, okay? Oh, one more thing too. I remembered, because I can see the comments here, and since we're live on TikTok, I also will upload these TikTok lives to YouTube for people who don't happen to catch me live and aren't on TikTok. So if you know people who you think would benefit from this, just let them know about the Destination Decluttered TikTok thing. The other last thing I'll say is, seriously, you guys, I'll answer the questions, but put your phone down and go out and start decluttering your room as we speak. It'll be like a win-win, okay? So here we go. So A. Nelson says, can you talk about downsizing dishes and entertaining things? And I love this, because right next to it is Lisa V. 1985 saying, I started emptying my dining room buffet yesterday, and it's the land of fantasy life dinner parties. I know, huh? Oh my gosh, at one point I had martini glasses and wine glasses for all different kinds of wine. And I had fancy dishes and I had plain dishes and all this. And it seemed kind of fun for a while until it didn't, And so what I will say about downsizing dishes and entertaining things, good china and crystal, if you love it, if it lights you up, get it into rotation. Use it more often than saving it for a special occasion. Being alive is a special occasion, okay? So get that stuff into rotation and use it. But if you don't dig it, it's okay to release it back into the world. And I say that because life is too short to be surrounded by stuff that when you look at it, you kind of go, as opposed to, ooh, like I like that, Pay attention to what I call your internal traffic signals, right? So the other thing is, so if you like it, keep it and use it. If you don't like it, get it out back into the world where it has an opportunity to connect with somebody who might be looking for that exact pattern. It could be if it's a family pattern, maybe somebody in the family, maybe a younger generation wants that pattern. It doesn't have to be everything. I really try to avoid, whenever possible, dumpsters and trashing stuff. So If somebody in your family wants it, if they don't push it on them. But if they want it, give it to them now. I was just thinking about this because I'm going to go see my family for Easter, and I was thinking about my mother's dishes and getting the just even the not the dinner plates, the little dessert plates, and getting them into my circulation. So when we have people over and have dessert, I can have that, right? And then yeah, the fantasy life dinner parties. It's like, what did I think? And this is cool. We all do this, you guys. We all do this. What did I think my life was going to be? And I bought the stuff for that future beautiful life. And kind of, what is it now? But also, what do I want it to be? Like, for example, if you're like, oh, don't get bummed out if you're like, oh, I thought I was going to have all these dinner parties and now I didn't have all these dinner parties. No, be like, you know what? Get my calendar out. I'm going to have a dinner party. Get your your calendar is your friend, people. Your calendar, you put stuff on your calendar, you will make it happen. It's true. Studies prove. Okay. The other thing too, I want to just mention, because I know this is going to be for many people, that idea of good china. Now, here's an interesting thing, and I will give you a tip from my collecting days, being a vintage seller and collector and thrifter and all that, is oftentimes the items that a previous generation saved that they thought was worth money were the things that were for the dining room, right? So you have your china, you have your crystal, you have your silver plate, your flatware, that type of thing. With very few exceptions, I will say this. The majority of the stuff that was important for the dining room is not as important nor as pricey as it was back in the day. So check your patterns online to see what they're worth now, to see if it is something you want to sell or you just want to donate or give to somebody, okay? But the other clue is start looking at your kitchen stuff, because Pyrex and Corel and even Faltzgraff stuff, there are people out there that's their version of antique, and so they're looking for it. So keep an eye on the stuff in your kitchen while you're also kind of realigning your expectations for the stuff in the dining room. I hope that helps you both. Okay, what else do we have? I have lots of clutter. I had a thrift shop and kept everything. I like Marilyn Murray, so did I. Oh my God. I used to sell mid-century stuff, and then we moved into this house 18 years ago. We moved in with like 4 couches, a gaggle of lamps, and whatever. What I would say is this: clutter is a math problem. Clutter is usually a too much stuff for the space you have, and it's also a puzzle problem, right? Think of it like that. It's like you have some things that aren't in the spaces that they're supposed to go. When everything is all nice and you have the right amount of stuff in their homes, that's when your house will look and feel awesome, right? So I want to say I challenge you, Marilyn, but I say this in a loving way. Just get curious. I approach my coaching and myself in life with curiosity and compassion to say, why did I keep that? Do I still need that now? I know I liked it when I kept everything I liked when I had the shop, but now let me do a revisit. Like when we moved in here and we had a ton of stuff, I did bring everything because I wasn't sure what was going to fit. And I say this to people that are moving as well, is you will have to do, most likely you will have to do another purge. And that's a kind of that's a strong word, but you'll have to do another, what do we use in museum studies? Like curation. You're going to have to, it's really good to just curate your stuff again once you have that stuff there. So you have what I call like the Goldilocks, like just right feeling. It's not too little for you. It's not too much for you. It's just right for you, So you liked it when you had the thrift shop and it closed or whatever. Revisit that stuff and see if you still like it now. You have the opportunity to change your mind. Humans evolve all the time. Can you imagine if we were all trying to, fit into our little kid clothes and eat strained peas? No, we evolve and we like certain things at certain times and then we don't. Oh, thank you, Dana, for the email. Yeah, I promise tonight I will be sending out the email with the Zoom link on how to do the Zoom. Okay. So this is great. So I want to address this. So thank you, Reisner Costume. They say, I have clinically diagnosed OCD and hoarding. Through therapy, I've identified the trauma triggers. So important, and that is so good. And I'm saying this to you. I'm saying this to everybody here. It is so good to get help. It is. Of whatever variety you need. If you need professional, medical, mental, health help, please get it. It'll just make your life so much better, so much sooner. The longer you delay it, the longer you're just being unhappy, right? So that's so good you do that. And yes, a lot of people, hoarding is an actual diagnosis in the DSM-5. And so when I am, interviewing clients to see if we're a good fit, one of the things I do is say, are you have any issues? They will often say, I'm being treated for this or that. But if it doesn't feel like a right fit, I'm not going to set somebody up for failure. I will with love and encouragement say, it's really good to get help for your stuff. So that's so good you do that, right? My kind of help is, if you're just struggling. I mean, I do work with a lot of ADHD clients, women typically, but I'm a equal opportunity coach. But yeah, I will definitely highly recommend that if you feel like it's like scary problem, that just ask, and here's the cool thing. You could go to your doctor and find somebody who can help you with that. And they will give you help for that. Okay. So it's so good you did that. All right. So what else do we have? We're going. All right. Okay. See, this is so funny. I got to share with you guys that, TikTok will be keeping my screens stuck and I'll be like, oh, nobody's asking questions. So I'll blab on. And then the next thing you know, there's a flurry of them. So I just got a thing. Yes. Okay. So many good things. So Jax the Wiz, tips on decluttering a previous generation's belongings when they are no longer with us. Oh, my friend. Hell yes. Hell yes. This is all of us. Even if they're here, they're not going to be here for forever. So as I was saying to a friend last night, if you have parents, if you have relatives and they're alive and they live in a space and that space has stuff in it, whether you like it or not, the person who is going to, you are going to have to deal with this stuff. So here's what I want to offer to all of us. Well, their memories do not live in the thing. The thing, they don't live in that. Their spirit is not in the thing. The spirit is in your heart. Those people that you're remembering with the stuff, the things that were important, they live in your heart. So when you decide to put their things out back into the wild so they can connect up with people who would love them, does not mean you didn't love the people. It also just means that they liked things that you didn't. That's okay. You're allowed to like the stuff you want and not like the stuff you want. Do not feel guilty because somebody in a previous generation had another taste than you. If they didn't, that would be awesome. You'd be like, oh, I'm so psyched. I inherited all this cool stuff. But if not, it's okay to let it go. Okay? Also, what I will offer to everybody is let's break this chain, shall we? Lead us not into temptation. Let us not be just doing what was done to us, like inheriting all this stuff that you don't know what to do with. And then you look at the other generation, the younger generations, and they're like, they don't want it to begin with. So when you start with that stuff and you start with your stuff, just keep in mind, like younger generations don't want to be burdened with it as well. So remember that the people do not live in this stuff. Previous generations, if they are family stuff, you might want to put a call out there to your family to say, does anybody want any of these people's things? Somebody might, and some younger generations might too. Never forget that there might be some people, because I was one of them, in your family that likes that kind of old-timey stuff or has a sense of history or family tree, okay? I hope that helps. I do some videos too on my TikTok page. I'm pointing as if like you can see my page about what I call parental clutter. Some of those may help you, and I will be doing more. Okay. See, this is interesting. User bloody blah blah says 4 years ago my basement flooded. Everything was lost. I have never recluttered it. Yeah, and that's when you realize we don't need a lot of the stuff we have. Sometimes storage space allows us to just avoid making the decisions on them. Trust me, I have stuff in my basement, but it's not getting in the way. We're not moving, so it's okay. But it's totally, completely different than before when I was cluttered, So, okay, so it's just too sassy. I have a bunch of art that belonged to my parents. How do I sort through? I'm so lost. Okay, you're not lost. Here's the light in the forest, all right? So a couple of things with artwork. Just a few things to consider, and this is for everybody who is looking at decorative items in their home or their parents. First of all, do some Googling and see if it's worth anything. It might be worth some money. I don't know. It could be stuff that they painted on their own when they went to like a paint and sip, or it could be this print that they bought back in whatever, or an original artwork that they bought back in someday, and now it's worth something. So do a little bit of research. Look to see if it's a print or an original. And you can do that usually by squinting and seeing little pixels and stuff, and you can usually tell. Look up the artist's name. Look up if you can read the inscription. What else? Do you like it? If you like it, that's great. And you can keep it, but I have a feeling you don't, because you wouldn't be asking me about it. But like, oh my God, you guys, my dad collected artwork of like hunting and guns and pheasant, dead birds. I'm looking at a big empty wall of mine that could easily have all that stuff on it. No, because that's not what I like. But the cool thing is, just think about this too, Just Too Sassy. When you do that, also, just because it belonged to your parents doesn't mean you have to like it. Doesn't mean you don't love them if you don't love their art. It's okay. But the other thing too, everybody, remember this. Anytime you are releasing something, letting it go from your home elsewhere, unless you're putting it in a dumpster, and please don't put it in a dumpster. Donate. You are giving that item an opportunity to like connect up with its forever home with somebody who's going to freaking love it. Right? So they may love it like your parents did, So just think of, instead of what you're losing and giving away, connect up with that you're going to delight somebody you don't even know, So there goes. Where do I sell everything, says Kimbar 581. Okay, this allows me, and I love it when I see people's words. Everything is an overwhelm word. And here's another tip. When you use overwhelm words, when you feel overwhelmed, it just means that it's too big to deal with, so you need to chunk it on down, okay? So I would say this, and where do I sell everything? Pick one item out of your thing and say, where would I sell this? Here's what I recommend, just as a blanket kind of overview, because we're not in a one-on-one, so I don't know exactly what you're doing, but the tips I'm giving are going to be a nice starter for everybody, because this is what I do. First of all, I am going to go onto the internet. Thank God we have the internet. I'm going to go to, primarily I'll go to eBay, and I will do a search for the item that I have. And I will search for items that have sold. And I will see what the price is, and I will see that the price is including and not including shipping, to give myself an idea of, is it worth it to me to spend my time selling it? Now, everybody is going to have their own litmus test, their own level of, it's worth it. My time is worth me selling this. But I want to offer to you that your time is precious. So just be mindful. I'm throwing it out there for all of this. Your time is precious. Use it on the things that are really important, because selling things can have a lot more steps in them than you think. And I don't say this to overwhelm you, but I just want to give you a realistic expectation of it. And just think of, how much is that item going to be worth if I sell it? How long is it going to take me to sell it? What are all the steps that I have to go in? Like, I have to find it, I have to clean it, I have to describe it, I have to write the description, I have to take the pictures, I have to upload the pictures, I have to go host it, I have to determine the price, I have to determine the shipping, and then it goes off. And then I wait, and then I have to answer questions, and then I have to, okay, somebody bought it. All right, I have to wait for the payment. I have to get the payment. I have to pack it up to mail it. I have to then mail it. I have to make sure it gets there okay. It's okay, then they give me a thing. I'm just saying, there's a lot of steps to it. So if you're only doing that for $20, maybe that's not the best use of your time. Only you can answer that. If you're doing it for something that's $20,000, that might be a little bit better of an investment of your time. Okay? Okay, so this is interesting. I love to see that somebody had it all carted away and have so much room now. There you go. It's as easy as that. If you want to, just release it from it. But Mama Lou 53, when I remarried, my husband purged me out of everything I loved. That's such an interesting statement. That is. Now, I don't know your relationship, so I can't comment. But what I want to say is, you don't need any items in your life to feel loved. You can have loved an item, but if it's gone, you can heal yourself from that. All right? So you could buy more things to get that love, or just turn inwards and say, you know what? I don't need any of this to be happy. Happiness on the inside is great because it doesn't take up any space, and you can carry it with you wherever you go, and nobody can take it away from you. All right? I hope that helps. Dude, what else we got here? Yep. Art is valuable and it's hard to know what to sell. Okay, here's another thing I will also offer too. There might be people in your area, auction houses, somebody that can give you an evaluation to say how much is it worth. Get the experts involved, get some help so you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I just, donated a Picasso to the Goodwill, right? Yeah. And We Were Dogs is saying, actually, once you start doing it, you're making money. It's pretty fun. See, everybody has their own idea of whether you want to sell or not. So do what feels right to you. I have sold things in my life and it felt wicked exciting because I was making money and it was so much fun. And at a certain time for me, it stopped being fun and it seemed more dreary. My sister, who owns a vintage shop, still loves to do it. So I'm like, party on, Wayne, do that. But it's not my jam now. So I just try to give people, just pay again. See, isn't this fun? I started this by saying that decluttering helps you find out who you are and who you want to be. And at a certain point, I was that person who sold stuff and loved it. And then I was the person who sold stuff and didn't love it. And now I just don't sell stuff at all. And I don't buy stuff to sell. Or I'll buy stuff if I happen to see it, because I don't even go thrifting anymore. But if I do, I'll pick it up and I'll give it to my sister so she can sell it. Okay. Okay, love your analogies. Oh my gosh, I'm all about the analogies. That's the only way I deal with life, is to think of things like road trips and anything you can hang, any hook you can hang it on that you already like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, for example, I have tons of different clothing sizes, lost and gained weight so many times. Okay. Here's the thing, and I'm doing it myself, Sassy Pants, and I love that you get Sassy Pants on fire. We got to love ourselves no matter what size we are. So I get the idea of wanting to save clothes in bigger and smaller sizes on the off chance that your body is going to fluctuate. Nothing wrong with that. What I will offer, though, this might help you with that, because I've had people that are overwhelmed in their closets. It's the clothing that does not fit you right now. Divide it up into like 2 totes, one that's bigger sizes and ones that's smaller sizes. Put a date on it and just store them away. And then all you have left in your closet is the stuff that you're fitting into right now. And then make sure that the clothing that you're fitting into makes you feel good when you look in the mirror, makes you look good to yourself. Life is too short to wear uncomfortable clothes. Zen Koala, where is the best place to start? I always say start with deciding why you want to do it. Fall in freaking love with how you want your life to look and feel. And just marinate in that. Say, how do I feel now? I feel stressed. I feel overwhelmed. I feel stuck. I feel grungy. I feel ashamed. I feel dirty. Whatever your adjective is, and then flip it. Say, you know what? I want to feel the opposite. I want to feel like I can invite people to my house. I want to feel like it takes 2 seconds to tidy up. I want to feel like I can leave for vacation and I come home and my house is just as awesome as I left it. Fall in love. Make a destination and fall in love with it. And it's not just about your house, but it's how you want to feel in it. Okay? Email address is, there's actually a join link on my TikTok page. It just says destinationdecluttered.com/join. You can do that right there. So thank you. But what I will say is this, start at the beginning. Not start at the beginning, start at the end to get yourself excited to even start the journey. If you're not excited to get there, as soon as it starts getting tough, you're going to be like, F this. I'm parking in Ohio. I'm not driving to California. This is too tough. But when you were so excited about getting to a life that feels good to you and you're worth it, that's when you're going to do that. The other thing too is literally, you guys, everybody, first place is you could put down the phone right now, Zen Koala. You could put down the phone right now. And I know you're no dumb bunny. You know certain things. Trash goes in the trash. Recycles goes in the recycles. Things that have homes get put away. You can start decluttering right now as I'm talking. This is the great thing, is oftentimes we spend so much time up in our heads, and this is what coaching does, but then you got to turn those thoughts into action. Who was that? It was, Howard Jones, Dream into Action. Any 80s music people, right? So just do that. Every time I lessen the stuff in the house to make room, my husband gets angry. Now that is really interesting, and this is what I want to share, journaling Steph 69. Everybody on the planet has their own stuff story, okay? It really depends on how you brought up, what your thoughts are about stuff, what your thoughts are about cleaning, what your thoughts are about giving things away, what your thoughts are about keeping things, right? So I would offer to you, it also depends on the attitude with which the stuff leaves. You could be like, hey, isn't this great? We're going to help a family whose house got on fire, versus, ha, 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 I'm going to throw your stuff away. It all depends on the vibe behind it. Approach it with curiosity and, love to your husband, and ask him why it makes it makes it upsetting to him. You know, I find myself, I'm a declutter, and at a certain point, somebody be something, I'll be like, no, that's mine. And literally, don't we all sometimes have the feeling like, no, I want to cling on to it? I swear I can see my mother doing that as we speak. Okay? But just ask your husband about it. Be like, hey, and this is what I love too, with coaching and with these TikTok lives. It's a perfect reason to bring it up. To be like, hey, this was crazy. I saw this TikTok live today, and this woman said something about decluttering, and I'm just curious, why do you get so mad? Or I don't, you know how to talk to your spouse, your husband, your partner in a way that will elicit information versus shut them down. So just with curiosity and love, to be like, hey, what? I'm just curious. Why? It always seems like you get wicked upset when we're just, trying to, make the place clean. I'm curious, and listen to them. I hope that will help. Okay. Oh, interesting. We have a kid closet, and my 10-year-old is going through it right now to earn clay beads. That is awesome. I love that. Folding clothes as we speak. I love it. Glance to look at the comments every so often. Okay, perfect. See, this is what I'm telling you is it's all good to sit there. I do it myself when I'm wicked tired. I'm just scrolling. But seriously, you're going to feel so much better when you just put the phone down and do something. Do something. TikTok everything wants us to stay on our screen so we see ads and we buy their stuff. And not like I'm not saying, sign up for my mailing list, or if you want coaching, work with me. I'm being very transparent about it. But what I'm also saying is that you can do this right now. You can get a taste of how undifficult it can be to declutter your home, and how really it can be fun. It can be fun because you're like, oh, look, my house looks better than when I started. Oh, look, I have learned more about myself because I have decided the things that I don't want in my house. I have also kind of doubled down on the things I do want in my house, so I'm surrounding myself with stuff that I love. It makes me feel good and delights me, And so I'm glad you're folding your clothes. That's awesome. All right, what else do we got? What do we have? Okay, somebody is daunting. Somebody is savage. I'm missing it. Okay, ADD people are bad with clutter. Yes, you are. It's just the way your brain works. It's fine, but there's ways that you can use that awesome ADD brain and still declutter yourself. Oftentimes a lot of it, you guys, so much of it is just habit. It is just creating new highways, new neural pathways in your brain to say, when this happens, I do this. Because what you're doing right now oftentimes is you have a habit that says, when I do this, and then I do this thing, and then the end result is clutter. What coaching helps you do is to say, when I do this, when I'm here, I now do something else that gets me to be uncluttered. And we just keep on paving that path. Paving like a road, It's like walking down and making a path. And it's just like in your brain. So a lot of it is just, and that's why I do coaching for 10-week sessions, because you need time to create these new habits in your brain and in your routine and in your life. And at a certain time, you become the person who just gets the habits of, I am now doing habits that keep me decluttered versus being cluttered. Okay? Okay, see, I love this. So, I have asked, he says it makes him feel ungrateful to his parents, which is odd to me. No, I get it. Somebody gave you something and you're giving it away. You might feel guilty because it's a gift that they gave you. And what I want to offer to this too is, oh, I love it. Thank you, Calm Carolyn. It is complicated because also your parents are not giving you things to make you feel like crap. They're giving you things to make you feel good. So see how it's a little bit more nuanced than we think. And have compassion for everybody. I know people, and myself too. It's like when you don't have a lot of money to start with, and then suddenly you get some money, and then you're able to buy gifts for people and buy them the things maybe they didn't have as they were growing up. You think that's a good thing, and oftentimes it can be. But then also on the other side of that, especially if kids are around and stuff like that, when you're at the receiving end of it, it can be overwhelming, and your parents, the gift givers, don't mean to make you feel drowning, but sometimes it happens. Okay? I have no idea if TikTok is going to be banned. I'm not concerned. First step to it being fun. Yeah, lucky girl. What do you want your life to look and feel like? Think of the things that are crappy about your life now. Flip them on its, go to opposite land. If you're stressed, I want my house to make me feel calm. If I'm overwhelmed, I want to feel in control of my house. I want to make it easy and simple to, put things back when, I put them away. Like, I want to feel good in my life and in my body, and what does that mean to you? And then what are the things, literal things in the way of you doing that? Because we're just talking about, it's thoughts, don't get me wrong, it's thoughts, but also with clutter, it's a wicked lot of clutter. It's stuff, it's physical objects you bought at the store that you're like, do I want this or not? And if you want it, you find a good home for it in your house. And if you don't want it, that's okay. You can pass it along to somebody else who does. Okay? Do you have any advice about decluttering kids' toys? Yeah. Here's what I think is I really think the kids should be involved with the decluttering. Really get them involved in the fact that things are always kind of coming and going, and we're always making decisions. If you teach that, can you imagine if you learned how to declutter when you were a kid and it just became part of what you do with life? Things come into your house and they leave. They come in. Some stay for a long time, some don't. It's always this kind of ebb and flow, right? So get them involved so they don't feel like it's happening at them, right? The other thing is minimizing the amount of toys they have. They say, and especially somebody mentioned up thread that they have ADHD, and some kids with learning disabilities and, challenges get so overstimulated by too many toys that reducing the amount of them can help. Also, kids age out of toys. Am I right? I don't have children, didn't have them, didn't want them. Thank you, Lord, for making that all happen the way I wanted to. But, there's toys that are baby toys. I don't want to play with that. That's a baby toy, Like, there are things that they just age out of, and you can have a conversation. Like, do you want this? And sometimes kids will say, this is a funny thing. I've seen it when the kid will say, no, I don't want this. And then the parent will be, oh, are you sure? You used to love that. It's not about the kid is okay letting it go. They're not playing with it anymore. It's the parent that has the connection. And it's not really to the toy, but that toy is a trigger. It reminds them of what that kid was like when they were little. Yeah, and completely, just new ways of thinking. Well, what else do we have? All right. Oh. Well, thank you very much for the compliments. I do. ADHD and downsize. We've got some bins. Any tips? Ooh. Not knowing the specifics, I will say this. So bins. I call them totes because I like to just tote them. And when I worked for Pier 1, we used to call them totes. And I used to use totes all the time. I recommend simple, clear totes. Don't get anything. I find that if totes are opaque, it's really hard to see what they are in them. Get totes that you can tote around, that they're not too big so you can move them easily. And really just try to minimize that. I always say when I'm doing clutter coaching with somebody, there's 3 levels of clutter. And I haven't mentioned this yet on this live, so I should do it now. There is surface clutter, right? Surface clutter is all the stuff that's on the surface. From your floor to your desk to your counters to bureaus to, any horizontal surface has got stuff on it that either lives there or is in the wrong place. So put that stuff away. But then you've got stored clutter. So there's surface, there's stored, and there's sentimental. Stored clutter, my 100% recommendation is you got to sort it before you store it. Sorting before storing all the time, because you don't want to sort stuff. You don't want to shove stuff away and then be like, oh, I'll deal with this later. That's just going to make it worse. You're just delaying something you're going to do. You're thinking it's going to be easier in the future, and sometimes it's not. So sorting it before you buy some bins. So this is a tip I will recommend to everybody. And also because I don't want to say I'm cheap, but I'm frugal. Like when I coach with you, I'm not like, go out and buy all these matching things. Nah. I say sort your stuff first and then see what you have left that you need to store, and then find the smallest clear tote that will fit into it. And put those things in it and label them if you need to, if you're stacking them. Okay? Yeah. And I love this. Danny's Mess says, I was surprised at how much my kids didn't want. Yeah. Isn't that awesome? Like, honor that feeling. We are all in the situation we are all in right now, where I am a cluttered person who's, a recovering collector, as I like to say. And everybody who's on here right now is watching this because we have an attachment. We have an attachment to things, right? And that is something that is learned often. So when your kids are not attaching to things, like, lean into that, like encourage that, because that's going to make them be a lot freer and easier to move around on the planet. It doesn't mean that they don't have sentimental like attachments, but the stories and everything lives in our heads and lives in our hearts. It doesn't live in the thing. Okay. I do have a YouTube channel. It is Destination Decluttered. That's where I post a lot of the stuff that you see here on TikTok. But if you know people that are not on TikTok, and also these TikTok lives that I do that. So it's Destination Decluttered. Please to go there and like it or subscribe. And what is my number one mantra to help get valuable clutter that you can't release? Okay. Value is, I don't want to say value is in the eye of the beholder, because if you have gold, if you have original artwork, if you have items that literally are of value to other people in the world, you could sell it. But then if they're cluttering up your house, if you don't love it, maybe that's a good thing. I would say, really, at the end of the day, I'm always saying, pay attention to what is important to you and what you want your life to look and feel like. And do those things add to that light and however you want your life to look and feel like? You know, maybe you want to feel powerful and surrounded by all these cool things that you bought with your money. I don't know. And even me saying it like that is kind of judgy, but maybe you do. That's not me. I say light and airy and flexible and abundant and generous and peace of mind. Like, those are the things I want. So I buy things that I only buy things that I need, or, you know, I have decreased greatly. I mean, I was just on vacation. I barely bought any souvenirs. I bought one thing at the very end of like the last minute, and I loved it so much that I think I'm going to hang it like behind me, because it's very cool. But really, just decluttering is a creative act of self-discovery. And I know that sounds like woo-woo or whatever, but like, you discover what's important to you and what is not. Okay? Okay, so just too sassy. Your kids are young adults now. They left so much stuff behind. Tell them to come pick it up. Come on. What's wrong with that? You know? Have them, everybody in the family, everybody, unless you're like under the age of 2 or like bedridden and wicked old or sick, it's really important for people to take responsibility for their own stuff. And I mean that like stuff as in literal, you know, tangible things, but also like metaphorically. So if your young adults have left so much stuff behind, interesting thing is, if they've done that, they probably don't want it. But you can say to them, you can say you want your life to look and feel like you're living in a home that is not surrounded by other people's stuff. And you're like, all right, you guys, within the next, you know, X many days or month or whatever, we're gonna have a moment, and your stuff, you're gonna have to deal with your stuff. Okay. Okay, that's great. You have no kids, but do collect toys. Yeah, I collect stuff. Downsize the toys you have. So here's a good thing for downsizing. I was an art history major. I did a lot of museum studies, and museums, curate your collection. Only have the best, you know, get rid of the stuff. You know, if you're looking for a way to do it, upgrade the vibe of all of your stuff in your house. Say to yourself, I deserve only the best. And that can be a toy you collect. It can be the spatulas in your kitchen. It can be the towels. It can be your bedding. It can be the clothes you wear. I deserve only the best. And what that will do is it will make you see, well, what are the things that I have that aren't the best? Maybe that spatula doesn't work too well. Maybe these pajamas have a hole in them, you know, and then get rid of that chaff, and all you're left with is wheat, you know. There you go. What else? Love it. Love it. Stored clutter. Yep, it happens because people have a really hard time making decisions about things, so they avoid it, and then sometimes somebody else gets shouldered with it. Yes. Yeah, it is hard to let go, but Mama Llama, what I will generously offer to you too is, it can be tough, but when you learn how to be kind to yourself and realize you came from that, and realize it's that little kid inside you that's clinging to that little toy, and you love that little kid, and it's okay now. It's it's worth it. And I'm not saying you have to get rid of everything. I mean, look at my house. I got stuff I collect and I still like it, but knowing that it's just a part of that, like, it's a part of you, you know, loving yourself and healing, and, you know, just treating yourself with kindness and love. That's what it's really all about. It is really hard to let go, but you can, and you're okay. You'll be okay. I will say this. When we cling on to stuff, when sometimes you release it and you realize you're okay on that other side of that transaction, it can be really cool. It can be a really cool feeling. I just want to offer that to you. Okay. Yeah, your daughter gets it. She says, "Let it go, Mom." Totally. I have a couple of clients right now that have younger kids and daughters and sons and everything, that they see the unhappiness that the clutter causes them, and they want to help their parents, and they also were like, "Oh heck, I don't want that to happen to me too," you know. Yes, so parents growing up in the depression, yes, completely, that notion of, and I totally believe in the whole recycling, and I think as a society, frickamoly, we have way too much waste. It's so not good. But sometimes when you're saving all the things and you're drowning in it yourself, that is also not healthy. You're not helping anybody else by not doing that. Yeah, I'm telling you, what do you want your life to look and feel like? And how do I want to feel? It's all about that. It's like, I mean, you can declutter and it can look like an HGTV show, but it's really about how you feel, you know? Yes, process of clearing things out without buying new things. That sounds awesome. Stored emergency food items. Okay, so this is interesting. Here's what I want to offer. I don't have a lot of emergency food items. I live near a grocery store. I joke that we store our stuff at the store, and it works for me. However, what I would recommend is looking at your stored emergency food. Look at the expiration dates on it now. And I will say this. Always rotate. I mean, if we were in the grocery store, rotate your stock for freshness. If anything expires within 6 months, get it into your regular everyday stuff and start to eat that stuff before it goes bad. Okay? The other thing too is if you know you can't eat all that before it goes bad, food pantries, like soup kitchens, churches, before it expires and it hasn't been opened, donate it someplace that those foods, you don't want them expiring before somebody gets to eat them, right? So just think about getting that stuff into rotation, eating it yourself, and if you know you're not going to eat it, and even if you don't, even if you don't save for like the scary rainy days or whatever, I got stuff in my cupboards that I thought I was going to make a recipe, and I bought too many cans of beans, and now we didn't use the cans of beans, and I'm not going to eat the cans of beans. I will often, on my daily walks, take a can or two of whatever that is we're not going to use, and I'll just walk it down to we have a food pantry near like not even near our house, so it gives me an excuse to go do a morning walk, is to go and drop stuff off at the food pantry. It makes me feel good and I'm feeding somebody else, okay? I was a clean nut. My son was diagnosed and passed away from cancer. Started hoarding bad help. Oh, hon. My heart goes out to you, Angelica. That sucks. That does. Yeah. And so I totally get it, because hoarding and gathering things around you, we are creatures that we want to make ourselves feel better. Anytime, don't you, when you feel bad, you just want to like, wrap yourself in a blanket with pillows and buffer yourself from the world because you're hurting. So allow yourself to grieve, but allow yourself to heal too, okay? And when you go through the stuff that you hoard, the good thing is you know that it's a reaction to something. And you can bit by bit start to unhoard. When you're healing, you can start to remove things that are easy, the surface clutter, the stuff that doesn't have an emotional attachment. You can get, it's like gaining weight. You gained it, you can probably lose it again. I don't know. I'm having trouble losing it myself, but what I'm saying is, if you brought it into your house, you can also take it out of your house, okay? And I'm so sorry about your son. That sucks. My heart goes out to you. I figured out what my husband needed to have put in eyesight when he started buying dupes. Yeah, buying duplicates. People, we don't realize often how much our clutter affects so many other areas of our lives. And when I do a consultation, and if you want to sign up for a consultation, there's a way you can do that on my website, destinationdecluttered.com. If you want one-on-one coaching, the very first thing I do is we have a 1-hour consultation where I ask you questions to make sure that what you're struggling with is something I can help with. But also what you will come away with is an idea, a better understanding of all the different areas of your life where your clutter affects it. And your money. You guys, buying stuff you don't need, storing stuff in a storage unit they have to pay for monthly, buying duplicates of stuff that you can't find where it is around your house, all of these things are money wasters that clutter causes. So yeah, if you've got duplicates, finding a better home for the things you do have, Dana Diane, go have work. It's awesome. Yeah, that's why they call it the store. The store, it stores it. Like I crack myself up. I do. Cause I was like, I don't know. That's why they call it the store. Cause that's where you store it, Yeah, so that's one of those things. Yeah. Um, and do you notice too, and I see some of these comments, and it's so great because one of the things is that clutter, so many of us have it. You're not alone, and even right now in this smidge of minutes, that there are people that we don't even know what states or countries we are in, but somebody says they're hurting and other people are giving you love for that. And that is one of the really cool things about the internet, is that we can connect up with people that we don't know. But also, as humans, we do things to make ourselves feel better when we're in pain. And one of the things that we do is we gather things around us, or we've been brainwashed by advertisements that say if we buy their product it will solve our pain. I'm a sucker for it, mostly it's just the next person, but just thinking about that, why you're buying something, why are you buying something you don't necessarily need. It might be to kind of, what I say, fill a hole in your soul. Now that may be pretty deep, but I know myself, when I was out collecting and I was out doing things, I was feeling kind of bummed, and so that little delight of finding something lit me up, and it made me feel excited when everything else in my life wasn't so great. And I'm not saying that it has to do with any of y'all, but what I will say is that we don't always, like, when we buy stuff, it is rarely in our conscious mind. There's so much unconscious thought that goes on to what we buy and when we buy it and how much it costs and what does it mean and all that. So just do that. Yeah, see, Myra Anderson 62. I wish I had all the money I've paid for storage units. That's one of the reasons why I do coaching, is because I'm appalled at how many storage unit places are opening up around us, and it just bums me out that people are buying stuff and paying money to store it when they probably, unless it's something where you're moving, like it's a short-term fix, it really sucks that there are people over there profiting over the fact that we've already been encouraged to buy too much stuff on the planet. Yeah, saving my daughter's clothes because I have memories of each dress and outfit and the investment. Okay, I love that you used fitness with KDD. I love that you used the word investment, because investment is a really fascinating word. Spending versus investing, two different things. The only time anything is truly is an investment is after you spend the money on it, you get an additional benefit, a longer lasting benefit. Other than that, it's just money spent. Once money is spent, you'll never get it back. Like, you could go and you could try to sell that clothing of your daughter's, but you're rarely going to get what you paid for it, right? What I will offer too is you can take pictures of those clothes and have those memories if you want. And then you can let the clothes go and just think, this is the thing that I love. Just think of that there are people out there on the planet who those clothes could now also be a delight for somebody else. That memory you have of that dress and outfit, there could be somebody out there who can't afford to pay what you paid for it. Isn't that cool that you can invest and pay that? Not everybody can, but you can take that stuff now, you can donate it someplace so somebody else can have a cute little kid outfit. Oh my God, I was on the little, the thing from the airport to where we parked our car. These people had their 1-year-old daughter. She had like the cutest little like jean jacket on. They had just come back from vacation. So adorable. So I get what you're saying. Oh yeah, borrow whatever. I give it away for free. I love that you help people to eat better. That's awesome. We could all use help with that. What else do we have? Okay. What's sad is that when one person hoards, the other family members do the same, but they blame it all on me, says Angelica Perry. Interesting. This is one of the things I will say when I do my one-on-one coaching, and there can be some finger pointing and stuff like that. I say, get your own house in order before you pick out somebody else. Because when you start to work on your own stuff, and you're not pointing fingers at somebody else, you can inspire people by just showing up and doing it. So you're getting your act together. They can't blame you if you've got your act together. And blame is something that somebody can try to blame. Blame is like, here, I'm going to hand you this thing and you can decide whether you want to pick it up or not. I throw this piece of poop at you and you decide if you want to grab it or you want to be like, no, I'm not touching that crap. Yeah, so Merlady too, I will say this, the stores are designed to make you spend. Instacart helps you stay out of the store and use a list. Yes, anything you can do to help yourself with it. I get overwhelmed when I go to stores, frankly, and I end up buying the most random stuff because I am also not the person. My husband loves to grocery shop, so I'm like, honey, go for it. I'd go do a shop, and yeah, if it were up to me, I just would just be like, we're out of these things. Let's get them sent and just get out of there. Sometimes it's fun to look, but then I come home with weird stuff. So it's kind of funny. All right, what else do we have here? Okay, I'm so glad I'm helping people. When I buy the toys, it's a nostalgia of it. Of course it is. Well, not of course it is, but yes, I agree with you that it's that notion of, oh my God, do you remember this? Like these little Pebbles and Bam Bam dolls. I remember these or these, whatever. Like we all have that, there's that, I'm a nostalgic person, but I also am forward thinking in that just because I look back on that stuff doesn't mean I necessarily need it now. And again, the whole notion of what do you want your life to look and feel like? And I want to be able to have a life where I love the stuff that's around me, but I also want to have clean, open, bright spaces, Excellent. I love that Skeeter Boo just organized their bathroom drawers and makeup. And that's what I say, that if you are listening to me right now, again, my name is Beth. I am the decluttering life coach from Destination Decluttered. I talk about Destination Decluttered because it's like you're being on a road trip and you're wicked excited to get to where you want to go to. Sign up for my mailing list. If you want coaching, schedule a consultation, like my Instagram page. No, where are we? TikTok page. Oh, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as well, but I kind of have fun on TikTok because I can just show up and talk with y'all. And I keep on saying y'all, and I'm not even Southern. Maybe it's because I was in Florida recently. Anyhow, all sorts of places, this is the thing. But what I will offer to everybody, and if you've been on for a while, seriously, put the phone down. It's just my face yapping. Go start to declutter something while you're talking to me. And see, somebody just did the organizing of the bathroom. Somebody said they were folding their clothes. Things are better. Somebody even said that they were like, oh my gosh, you helped me. I was doing my closets every time you showed up, and you call it making space and moving into the space. There you go. I love that. I love yoga. My house is not terrible, but always room for improvement. You have inspired me today. Thank you. That's why I hopped onto TikTok this morning, because I think it's a sin for me to have some things that I know will help people, that if I kept it to myself, it doesn't make me any better. It's better when the world is better, we all do better, okay? Walking on a treadmill, but seeing the top of your dresser. I love that. Oh my gosh, talk about like multitasking. That's awesome. I love it. Yay. When do you go live? Yeah, here's the thing. I just kind of showed up today. Okay, I'll do this. Foodie choice. Thank you for the thing. I will be posting a video today about when I will do other lives. One of the things about my life that I want to look and feel like, I like having a flexible life. So for example, the past week we were traveling. We had this wonderful opportunity to go see friends. We took that. In a couple of weeks, I also have another opportunity to travel. And I'm like a dog that jumps in the back of the car and is like, where are we going? Where are we going? So I will put a video out of when I will do some TikTok lives, and I will show up at those times because I love keeping promises to myself and to other people. So I will do that. Mama W. Pepper, hi, I like your content. Thank you. You could also, if you like it, I think it's really cool if you would like my TikTok page and stuff like that there. Any of those thumbs up things that shows, because I think the more people that like my page, it goes to more people. I don't know, but I'll be on here for a few minutes yet. Yay. Awesome, everybody. So, oh yay, learning to declutter, and let me tell you, this is why decluttering and learning how to figure out what is important to you and then taking the actions that support that, it's a life skill that you will have for the rest of your life. It's not just a one and done. It's not just like a, thing. It's like every day you can go into a room, you can go into your house, you can go into a store and be like, what do I like here? What do I not like? Was it worth it to me? That type of thing, okay? So if anybody has any questions, oh, there we go. My boyfriend and I are combining households, and I've been selling all the stuff we don't need. Rock on. That sounds awesome. That's cool. You could do that. If anybody has any questions about stuff and clutter, put them in the comments section. I'll be on maybe for another 10 minutes. Oh, yes, you deserve the very best. It's true. It's true. We all do. I even thought that to myself, like when we just got back from vacation. I was trying to cram my body into clothing that doesn't fit into pre-COVID clothes. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy some bigger clothing. I want to be comfortable in my clothes. And at the moment, I don't feel like changing my eating habits. So there we go. So I deserve to be comfortable in my clothing. So I do the same to me. I'm so glad that what I offer helps. I try to make it fun. I try to make it simple to remember, little mantras, little my greatest hits type things. To me, if it's a chore to show up and you have to remember it, it can be arduous. And at the end of the day, if you think of how you feel in your house right now, in your life, and then just, as I say, go to opposite land. What's the opposite of that? If I'm stressed, I want to feel relaxed. If I am, if I'm feeling needy and I'm feeling like grabby, I want to feel abundant and I can release things and it's okay. I love this. Angelica Perry, I want to gather experiences, not items. 100%. That's how I am right now. And that's why I leap at the chance to travel anywhere, because I just love it. It lights me up. I may not always be like that, but right now this is the chapter of my life that I want to do that. What are your favorite containers for socks? I got to be honest with you, and maybe some of you will love this. It's like the drawer, the sock drawer. Match them up. Like, I don't like to get too fussy. Marie Kondo likes to fold things in a certain way, and to me, if there's room in the drawer, if there's space in your drawer, like I literally have one drawer, I'll be honest with you. I got one drawer in this IKEA thing, and I have these little flexible dividers that I got. They're like plastic, and they're spring mounted. Underpants here, like, what is it in the middle? Like socks that are like slipper socks, and then socks on the other side. And I just match up my socks and I throw them in there. Do not get too fussy, because the time you're spending being fussy about all that stuff and making it look like if HGTV came in and that you folded your underpants, to me, that's time you could be outside in the world playing and having fun, So, yeah. CC Smiles 2020, I love keeping promises to myself and other people. You know what? Here's the deal, y'all. Everybody, that's what this is all about. Is you saying, I want my life to look and feel that way. You make a promise to yourself that you're going to do it, and then you show up and you keep that promise to yourself. And when you start keeping promises to yourself of the things that you said you're going to do and you're going to do it, that is a game changer, not just in clutter. It's a life skill. And yeah, like I promised somebody yesterday, a woman I met, we had known each other for years. We finally met in person. And I mentioned that I have a book that I just see over there. And I said, oh, I have a copy of that. I'll send it to you. And she's like, don't forget. And I was like, I love to keep my promises because it makes me feel good. And it means that I can trust myself and other people can trust me. So keep the promises you make to yourself. You're worth the promises you make to yourself, okay? I'm finding some old stuff lasts longer, is more durable. Hell yeah, it totally is. I buy all the same dark and white socks. They all match together. Grandma grateful. I do the same thing pretty much. And then I even find some that don't work, and then I will shove them off into the Goodwill bag, Marie Kondo is apparently children. Yes, I've heard. Many people have told me that Marie Kondo has had some children and retired from folding efforts. And I totally get that. And, to me, I don't have kids. So I come from it from a different perspective with kids. But I also want to be like, let's give everybody some grace. Like, we may think it's easier than it is, but also you can do things that still can keep you decluttered. Like I bet her clothes are still in the drawers. They're just not, they're just not folded. What type of cleaning training do you teach to be a decluttering coach? Well, the great thing is that Fitness with Kathy D is I am just about to be certified as a life coach with I can't remember the name of the place. Anyhow, but I have had a variety of chapters of my life being a Gen Xer. So first of all, I grew up in a cluttered household, collectors, ADHD, all that. So I know what it's like to live in those environments. But then I also worked for years as a visual merchandiser for home goods type places like Mikasa and Pier 1. I was a manager. I've been a process engineer, so I love habit forming things. So I can pinpoint like where things are falling apart and how we can correct them back up. The other thing too is I love to collect things, and so I know what it's like. I'm not somebody who's like a total, minimalist who's trying to tell you not to go to Brimfield Antiques because it's all full of old crap. So I come to it from an organic, in the weeds, having dug myself out and seeing the benefits of it approach. So it's just a matter of I know where people are coming from because I've been there myself, and I also have the patience for it. Like, this was crazy, you guys. My sisters, I have two sisters younger than me. My mother is still alive, and I am the only one that my mother is, her house is cluttered, but my sisters are like, oh, thank God you're here because we can't even deal. And I can deal it. It's a language I speak, and I know how good it feels to be not cluttered. So I come to it with like, you guys, I'm telling you, it is so good once you get there, you know? Yeah, I think I am a natural coach because I've always risen to management positions. I've always loved taking care of the people on my team. Like I think back to different, I'll be honest with you, think back to different jobs I fell into because I was an art history major. Like they're not clamoring for those when you're outside of, you get out of school. They're not like, hey, you want a big paying job? So you fall into stuff like that. But the things, the stories that I pull forward to me from some of the places that I've worked are not about, frankly, helping the corporation, though I always did, but was always the people that I helped develop. I literally am thinking of kids that were working with me, and I was much more of a kid, wasn't much more of a kid myself, that gave them some encouragement and gave them some confidence and was there just, doing what I could. And I could see them kind of getting pushed out of the nest and blooming and blossoming. And those are stories that I'm going to keep with me, and they're going to make me smile till the day I die, So that's how it is. My husband is a Sanford and Son Revisited. That's a really good theme song, I will say. That was, I think, done by Quincy Jones, maybe. Yeah, you know what? Again, all of us have our own stuff stories. Everybody has, and so much of it is subconscious, is unconscious. We don't even realize it until we stop to think about it, if we care to think about it. Some people don't. And sometimes you don't have to because you've got so much storage. But when it gets to a point where instead of lighting you up, it weighs you down, then that's the time to change it, Oh, that's sweet. CC Smiles 2020. I will say this. I consciously chose this certification program because I really liked the women who were running it, and I have learned so much from them that I said this year I want to become a better coach. So thank you. I do have a lot of experience and good skills, and I'm feeling really good about the investment that I've made in that certification program versus other ones that I had heard about that did not align with how I felt. And I am telling you, like seriously, CC Smiles, I got to share with you and everybody, the only reason I am even on TikTok is because part of the coaching I had was marketing and being like, get out there, tell people who you are and what you do, and just show up and be yourself. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just show up and be myself. I guess that might work. So it's been worth it. So thank you. And I do have a lot of experience, and I really love what I'm doing. Danny's Mess has got the junk closet done. Love it. Oh, I love that Sanford and Son is your ringtone. That's awesome. All right. Yeah. So I'm feeling good about it. Okay. Unconscious and trauma got me stuck. Waking up now. Oh my gosh. Yep. I hear you on that one. It's great when you're waking up and just know that you can make a difference in your life no matter how long you were asleep. Okay. Jan G71 says, I have too much sentimental issues with all my stuff. I'm an only kid and have inherited way too much. Okay. So Jan, I'm a sentimental person like the get-go. Like, trust me, I look at things and they tell me stories and stuff. But what I want to offer is, and I've done a couple of videos on my TikTok page about this under the umbrella of like parental clutter, because I think of that stuff that we've inherited from people, is just remember that the people don't live in the stuff. There is not a spirit in the thing. Like this mug, I made it on like online and it shipped to me. I could imbue it with all sorts of meaning. It was owned by so-and-so and whatever, and then it broke and I feel bad. But the story is all in me. It's in my head. It's in my heart, right? So you could you could pass along every single item that somebody owned, and your stories would still live in you. You would also have reminders out in the world that aren't even things, that you won't forget the people, and some of it is bittersweet. Sentimentality, I think, is we look at things and we remember how things used to be. And the bittersweetness is that notion that life is always changing. I look at my niece and nephew. Oh my God, they're like, one of them just turned 21, one's turning 21, the other one turned 16. I remember we used to have like a little purple fork in our what do you call it? Silverware drawer for when Jack came to visit because they forgot it there. And I said, oh, well, we'll just put it there for the next time they come visit. Well, the next time he came to visit, he was not using that little thing. So have some kindness for yourself. Sentimentality just means that you have feelings, and that's a cool thing. But if they weigh you down instead of lighting you up, if you've inherited way too much, it's time for you to lighten your load so you can be free and fly and do the things you want to do. Okay? German Maid 95, got the bathroom cleaned, loaded the dishwasher, put things away while I've been talking. I'm telling you, people, this thing works. And the great thing is that you notice that it doesn't have to be this dramatic, traumatic, I don't know what to do. You do know what to do. You're a smart cookie. You're no dumb bunny. You're a smart cookie. Oh my God, I'm just filled with them today. So yes, so that's great. Yes, it's all good. All right, y'all. It's 11:31. I'm going to be on for a hot couple more minutes. Gen X 2, rock on. Oh my God, I love us. 2 deaths later, inherited way too much. Okay, this is a big thing, and it's going to continue to be a big thing. So again, everybody who's on right now, I'm planting a seed. It's going to happen to all of us. Somebody that you know, somebody you're related to is going to pass away, and you are probably going to be the person to deal with their stuff, or we are all going to die, and somebody else is going to have to deal with our stuff. Okay? So why not, before we get there, just start a plan. Decrease the amount of stuff. Get clear on what you are, what you want to do with things, seriously. Oh, thank you very much for all the kind words, everybody. I will show up more, I promise. Yeah, you know what? Oh, that's so. What I'm saying is, I get distracted. See, ADHD myself. What I'm saying is, if you remember what you want your life to look and feel like, and what fits into that and what doesn't, it's going to make it so much easier when you have to deal with somebody else's stuff. Instead of saying, I don't know if I don't want it, just because you don't want their stuff doesn't mean you didn't love them. Okay, that's what I want to say. Break that cycle. Let's break that chain of feeling like we're stuck with stuff. Make better stories about it. Let it go and connect up with somebody else who's going to love it. Okay. Okay. So Gems from the Hearts shop. What I will say, nice to meet you. I have an awful time with change and ridding stuff. Yeah, change is so interesting because change happens every single moment. I was sitting in the sun yesterday, and we were having lunch, and we were trying to move the table, and I said, by the time we move the table, the sun is going to be moving. So when you get your notion, and maybe it's a little Buddhist thing, I ain't going to remember who said what, but change happens all the time. In ridding stuff, instead of feeling like you're getting rid of something, think of what you're gaining. You're gaining space in your house. You're gaining ease with which you can, put things back together. You are also gaining a good feeling because when you donate your things, you're lighting up somebody else's life. You're allowing that thing that no longer serves you to go serve somebody else. I would not want to leave what I have right now. I worry about that. Okay, we'll start today. What can you do today? Do you have some surface clutter? Do you have stuff in your house that you know you don't want? Go put a bag together and put it to a place to donate. Every little bit helps is one of my big mantras, and starting today, if you do one bag, if you do 2 bags, and you do it every single day, it's like driving on a road trip. You will make a difference and you will get there. Yeah, age 63, cleaning up my stuff while I have the energy. It's true. As we age, we have less energy. I've talked to a multitude of people over our vacation in Florida who pretty much said the same thing. Yeah, and listen, Linda, honey, Linda, honey, Gen X, clearing the things up so no one will have to while we're gone. Isn't it true? Aren't we the ones who were already like, I got it. Don't worry about me. I got it. Where's my latch keys? I'm not going to bug it. I got this. So that's I think why I'm coming to this at this point is I have older parents and older my mother, and I see grandparents, and we did a bunch of stuff. And then I see the kids behind me, and I'm like, I don't want them to have to deal with my stuff. If they want it, it's great. If not, open, when I go, they can, back up a truck and give it all to the Goodwill, Inheriting stuff can be traumatic. Give stuff to people you want when you're alive. Yes, Merlady too. Totally spot on. I recommend that highly because then you can get a chance to see them enjoy it, Yeah, and see, that's Doodle Mama X3 is saying recently diagnosed with MS, and she they wish they had decluttered before this. What I will offer though, this here, Doodle Mama, let me help you. Decluttering is not an act, is not a physical act, is partly physical. Decluttering, everybody, decluttering is a mental act. You could sit there, and if you make the decision on stuff, you could point to somebody else. You could hire somebody who has two hands, one of those college hunks or something, and you could tell them, put this here, put that here, move this. We don't need that. You could sit there like lady, some fancy lady in a Masterpiece Theater thing. It's really about what you think about it. So that sucks that you got diagnosed with MS. I'm not dismissing that, but what I'm saying is you can still make decisions about what you want to do and then just point to stuff. Hire somebody, get family involved, and you can still declutter even if you can't physically move, because it is partially a physical act, but it is mostly a mental thing. That's why I'm able to coach people on Zoom, one-on-one, from anywhere in the world, because it's not about me moving your stuff. It's not about me even looking at your stuff. It's about what you think of for your stuff and then what you do about it, okay? Yeah, there you go. Inherited the stuff, done that, in that. Yep, mug, going on a road trip. Rock on, my friend. I love a road trip. Yep, so you can do it. Yeah, and I think that's great that before your mom passed, she made us pick what we wanted for her things. And also, if you won't want anything, that's totally okay too. I helped my mother declutter, and when I was doing it, I kind of had my eye open from like my sisters and I, and it was like, do you want any of this stuff? Like, let's have this conversation before it gets to be crisis mode, right? I moved into my deceased parents' stuff I have there and my stuff in one home now. Oh, Ruby Red, God bless you. That's a wicked lot of stuff, huh? If you want to change it, though, you can. You can. I am here to send a ray of hope and possibility in your life, in everybody's life, because if you want to change your life, you can. I did it. I never thought it was possible. Literally, I remember being like a teen, being like, well, I guess those things happen to other people, but not me. It's kind of how I was raised. Just saying. But what I will say is when you decide to change your life and you do little things and you do big things and suddenly you see things change, it's fucking awesome. Yep. Yeah, it's so cluttered. Okay, you deserve to live, if you want to, you can live in an uncluttered home. You can remove all the items of theirs that you don't want and donate to some people that will, or you can sell them. Kids want things they didn't want before the parents died. Yeah, yes. You know what? It's always that type of thing. Yep. Exactly. One section at a time, a drawer, okay, in progress. Yes, 100%. So that's what I always say when oftentimes when I've done these TikTok lives, so many things people will say, I'm overwhelmed and I don't know where to start decluttering. I don't even know where to start. And what I want to offer to everybody, Merlady just reminded me of this, is I work on one section at a time. It's a drawer. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. It's like driving even just a mile on a road trip towards what you want is a mile further away from where you were, and it's a mile closer to where you want to be, right? This little heart behind me. Okay. The other thing I want to offer is don't be overwhelmed with the entire road trip. Like if I'm driving to Palm Springs, I don't know like what lefts and rights I'm going to take in whatever state that is. Like if I'm in Wichita, Kansas, I'm like, oh, should I be going this way or that way? I'll figure that out when I get there, right? But I know right now I'm in PA. I could just head west on the turnpike and be closer, right? So don't overwhelm yourself with things you don't need to be overwhelmed by, and chunk it down into smaller bits. What can you do today? If I was going on a road trip today, I'd be like, okay, I got a couple hours. I can drive west, right? And then tomorrow I would show up and be like, okay, what time do I have to do today? What could I do today? Chunk it down into smaller, manageable chunks. It's the only way you drive from one side of the country to the other. It is so, and foodie choice, I gotta say, it is so apt because that is how you do anything. But especially because for years I would drive around in my car, I would take pictures of old diners and drive-in movie theaters and cool vintage signs. I've like written books on them, right? This was my jam. And I said to myself, I don't get this. I can plan a kick-ass road trip, but why can't I plan my life like a kick-ass road trip? And then it was really weird because then I was like, I don't know. I wonder what would happen if I just thought of my life as a road trip, right? And oh my God, I was like, oh, this totally makes sense. Like if I run out of gas, I'm not beating my car up for running out of gas or you should be working harder. It's like, no, I go and I fill my tank with gas. If I get tired, I'm on a road trip, I go sleep and then I wake up the next morning and I drive some more. It just takes the drama out of it. Okay, Beckschel, I will say, it's such an ugh to get started. Okay, and Ruby Red, okay, both of you I don't want to say get to know each other, but what I will offer to the two of you is, it's an ugh to get started if you don't know where you're headed or why you're doing it, and you don't have a destination you're excited to. You know, I said this at the top of the one, and there's literally a video that I took last week about, it's an ugh, like if you're driving someplace, if you're driving to a place you don't want to go, it's ugh. I'm driving to commute, I'm going to work. You know, I was up at 3 a.m. to go on vacation. That is 3 a.m., I'm tired, but I have a lot different feeling about it when my destination is vacation versus destination is having to drive to fly on a work trip, okay? So what I say is find a destination that you are psyched to get to. Envision and feel what you want your life to look and feel like, your home to look and feel like, but your life to look and feel like. Fall in love with that destination, knowing you can get there, because literally it's all about just moving some items out of your way. And when you're excited about it and encouraged about it, you're going to be more likely to show up on the road. When I'm psyched, I mean, I'm telling you guys, I could leave my house in a hot minute right now, and I would be so much more excited to drive to like Palm Springs, California than I would to someplace that's cold. If I was driving someplace cold, I'd be like, I don't want to get there. I don't know. I'm gonna delay it and stuff. And trust me, I'm all about taking a detour occasionally if something fun happens. Like somebody just said, it's not always about the shortest point from A to B. It isn't, but also if you're excited to get to your place, you can also get there and then still do other things. It's always a balance. You know, you have to balance your progress with recovery and all that types of things. But what I will say is, when you're excited to get to someplace, you will automatically be like, oh, I'm not going to just putter around there because I want to get to where I want to get to, you know? Oh, that's awesome. Carol Thompson, Bo 67 just said, I just sorted a pile of clothes I have been avoiding forever. Donated half. Thank you so much. Well, you're welcome. But you know what the great thing is? You're the one who did it. You're the one who made the decisions. You worked on your decision muscles. And I am saying thank you. Congratulate you. Thank yourself for doing that. Because you also realized that you've been avoiding it for forever. But today you just decided to do it. You did it. And it wasn't that bad. So that means that next time, Carol Thompson, when you go to do something else, you can have the memory of, oh yeah, well, I did that with the clothing. It wasn't that bad. I guess I could try this thing. Oftentimes it is not as bad as many times. It's the thoughts about it are what keep us stuck. Those are the backseat drivers that don't want you to change. When you see how easy it is, your passenger seat, your co-pilot is going to be like, dude, where are we going? You know? So less chaos is what you want. Ruby Red 3545. Awesome. So look around your house and see what is adding to the chaos and remove it. I know I said that like it's wicked simple, but it's also not that difficult. Okay? Looking at items that I don't want right now, but my interests might circle back. Perfect. You know what you do? All those things that you think you might want, put them in a tote, put a date on them, set yourself a reminder to say use that stuff by a certain thing. And then also, if you haven't used it by a certain date, think of the fact that if you do ever decide to go back and you'll be interested in it, you can always go buy the stuff again. Now, I'm not to say that to be like, oh, just go buy things, but with that intention. Because if you haven't used it now, question yourself why you're not using it, and then set yourself a task to use it. And if you're still not doing it, honor the fact that there's something in you that just doesn't feel like doing it anymore. You know? Yeah. I will say this, Beckschel, you also know yourself better than I do, so trust yourself. You can trust yourself on that. But what I will say, yeah, is just it really depends on what is important to you. You know, Merlady says my challenge is reprioritizing organizing space at my parents' house. Yep. Yep. Now I'm curious. I don't know if that's your space or their space, but parents' houses are a big thing. Yep, as CM32717 says, just say I'm going to work on this spot for 2 hours, then do it again each day. Okay, and I love the sentiment behind that, but I'm going to break this down because when I see somebody says do something for 2 hours, I get overwhelmed and I'm like, I don't want to do anything for 2 hours like that. What I say is set the timer on your phone for 20 minutes and show up and do 20 minutes. And then you'll make progress. And then when the alarm goes off, you're probably going to be in the zone. Set it for another 20 minutes. Do another 20 minutes. You could do a bunch of 20 minutes. What is it, like six 20 minutes would be 2 hours? But chunking down the overwhelm of 2 hours into smaller sections might encourage people more to do that. So that's what I always say. Set your timer, 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and congratulate yourself every time you do that. Yeah, completely sassy pants on fire for you. Yes, believe that you can borrow it. If you have things that you're saving because you haven't used it, but you might need it someday, you know somebody else you know has that probably in their pantry or their basement, or a neighbor, or like anybody on one of those, Facebook, groups. Be like, anybody got a crock pot I can borrow? Anybody have a chafing dish I can borrow for this thing? And then, people love to help out, What else? Okay, so they passed, so it's mine now. Awesome. Merlady, make that home the home you want, if that's the home you want. And if not, empty it out, sell it, and move to where you want to go. Why not? Yeah, see, 20 minutes is so much better than 2 hours is like, I want to set you up for success. I want to set myself up for success. I always want to give myself every reason to say, look at the great thing I did. That's why when I do coaching, we always accentuate the positive at the beginning of the calls. All of us want to be like, let me tell you where I screwed up. Let me tell you how I didn't get it done. That's your backseat drivers trying to remind you that you suck, and they're wrong. You did some great things. So I like to accentuate the positive. So I would much rather say I did it for 3 20 minutes is I get 3 little check marks. Other thing too, I totally forgot, is when you sign up for my mailing list, and I just remember this because it's first of the month, you will get I have a habit tracker that looks like a map of the United States with little lines on it, so you can track your habits, so you show up every day. So if you say to yourself, like the beginning of the month, I want to just declutter for 20 minutes a day. You write that down. Every day you do it. I call it pavers and potholes because it's kind of like a driving thing. You can just color in the little things, and then you show up every day, and you just create that habit of every day you go do a little bit of decluttering. Can you imagine at the end of March, if you just started today, what a difference it would look and feel like in your house, even if you just only decluttered for 20 minutes a day for this entire month. Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay. There we go. Alicia Ann 84 says, emotionally and physically decluttered my life. Ended a 10-year marriage, focusing on kid, new job, and house. Rock on, lady. I love it. I love it. See, get rid of the stuff that weighs you down and you'll feel much more lighter. I agree. And life is too short to have an unhappy life. Okay, so it's 11:48 right now where I am. I've been talking for a wicked long time, so I'm going to take a sip of tea. That is now lukewarm. It always happens. But I'm going to be on until noontime. But what I will say is this, everybody. Hardest decisions, those are what I call a scary shortcut. Those are the things you got to be like, whoa, I don't know, but I know if I say this, everything's going to change. I've done a number of those in the decades that I've been along, and I've always been proud of myself when I've shown up and done the scary thing, because it has led to miraculous awesomeness. Oh, thank you. TWA bag right there. I get another one. It fell over. But you see, I want to actively give one of them to somebody who I know is going to dig it, because I'm decluttering my stuff. But I got this one at the TWA hotel at the JFK airport. Oh my God, I love it. I just love it. I love staying in cool hotels because I haven't done it a lot, so it's so exciting to me. Okay, so this is what I want to just not necessarily leave you with, but a couple of things. Let me think. I am Beth. I'm the decluttering life coach. Destination Decluttered. You're welcome. Destination Decluttered. I'm here on TikTok. I got the Facebook page. I got the Instagram. I post these things on YouTube. I have a email mailing list. If you want to get the habit tracker that I have, that you can get that. Also, this month, just for the people on the email mailing list, I do a once a month live Zoom, where it's the same type of thing, like you have a problem and I can answer it, but we're all on the Zoom screen, like all the little squares, so it's a little bit funner, more fun, and it's better for, it's something cool that I want to do just for the people who have, entrusted me with their email address, because I don't want to spam you. So that happens. What else? If you know people that are struggling with stuff and clutter, please let me, let them know about me. As I said, these TikTok lives, somebody on one of them suggested that for me to upload them to YouTube. And so I'm doing that. So if you think it would be helpful, also, here's the fun thing. Like, as I said earlier, and I will repeat, is I don't change. When I do these, I just look and I talk and I probably move my hands and I point. You can put the phone down and just hear what I'm saying as a little inspirational background thing while you're decluttering. And so the cool thing is too, like in 2 weeks, we're going away again. And you could just go to the YouTube page and just put on one of the recordings of this, and it would kind of have the same effect, you know? So there's that. You're welcome. Marilyn Murray, I am in Pennsylvania. So it's kind of chilly, but the sun is out, and I'm wicked excited about that. Danny Smith, I'm so glad you got your Valentine's and Mardi Gras. Listen to me. Can you tell I grew up in Boston? Your Mardi Gras packed up and organized. What do you do with your baby clothes that your mom gave you to keep as a keepsake? Okay, so I would do this if you want to be reminded of it. Because see, your mom had this idea of saving things and giving it to you, but instead of lighting you up, you're like, ugh, this is what I would do. Like, take some pictures of them, maybe. Who knows? They may be vintage baby clothes. Maybe there's a vintage person around you. Maybe there's somebody who has a baby who might want them. You know, take a picture if you want to be reminded of them and then pass them along. But notice how that idea of holding on to something and handing it down because of a memory is something that has been learned from the generations. Yeah. So yeah. And I'm originally from the Boston area. It comes out in when I'm talking Wicked Fast like this and I say Wicked. How do I sign up? So Alicia Ann 84. On my TikTok page, there's a thing that says destinationdecluttered.com/join. I think you can just click on that. And that will immediately bring you to my website. And it's just a little form that says, put your email address in here. You'll be added to the mailing list and the, what do you call it? Sorry, I've been talking for so long that I'm getting mocus, as my mother would say. The habit tracker will be there. And then also I will be sending out an email to everybody on the list today about when the Zoom is. Okay. Yeah, actually, New York sun out, still a bit cold, but I'm glad to see the sunshine. As my husband's a musician, he wrote a song called "Glad to See the Sunshine," so that's too funny. Yep, pick a favorite output. You could put it in a favorite. You can make a shadow box. You can do whatever you want. You know, small world. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is me. What else can I tell you? What else would help? I will say this. So we've been traveling. This might help a little bit as I riff here. Is traveling really makes you decide what you want to bring with you literally and metaphorically, because we've traveled before with big suitcases, and my husband still likes a big suitcase, and I'm trying to be like, yeah, whatever. I really like to have a small one, but that really makes you pay attention to like what you are intentionally bringing with you. But I gotta share with you that you don't need as much as you think you do. Like, I still had a little suitcase and I still had stuff that I didn't really wear. You know, bring clothes that, like, your clothing when you're traveling or when you're in your regular world should be comfortable. Know that you can buy something if you missed it. Just like you don't have to be weighed down with stuff, you know? New, clear, and bright spaces are so inspiring. Yes, this room right here, a little saying, you know, it's all painted white. It's pretty empty, but here's the deal, is that we lived in this house probably 15 years before it got painted. This was always my studio, office, guest room type thing. But during COVID, I was like, you know what? I deserve to have that room painted. And we were stuck in the house, so my husband's like, sure, I'll paint it. But then when I took everything out, I realized the stuff I had in that room that I didn't want to move back in. So I intentionally said, I'm going to be very like, do I want that in the room or not? And it's very minimal, but I love it because the sun looks beautiful off of the walls. I just a little crafty thing that I got framed. I've got some inspirational things here. Very little stuff, but it makes me feel good every time I come into it. Nana Nocturnal, I love that you used to carry a tote and now your pocketbook is barely wallet size. I don't even carry a bag anymore. Literally, I got my phone. And on the back of it, I have a little sticky thing that I have my credit card and my license in, and that's pretty much all I need, you know? There you go. Yeah, I can imagine You got a little bit of Brady Bunch action there, Melzag 34 with 2 of everything, overselling and just donating. Yes, seriously. This is what I want to say too, is your life, how you feel in your life and where you spend your time is important. So if you're digging the fact that you're selling stuff and you're lit up by the money you're making and you're feeling good about it, rock on with your bad self. But if you're not, donating is a beautiful way to use your abundance to get it out of your life, but also to light up somebody else's life. Okay? So I think that's a wonderful thing. And for you to pay attention that you're done with it, again, decluttering is a creative act of self-discovery. You discover, like, I was into that now, and now I'm done. And that is okay, right? Oh, too funny. Yeah, so it's one of those things where you learn about yourself when you declutter. You learn about what used to be important to you. Is that, if it is something that is, was important to you at a certain time in your life and it's not, that's okay. You evolve. You went from like not knowing how to walk to walking, and you weren't your bicycles. Like, we all evolve. And so it's okay for me to even say the stuff that I was into, like even 5 or 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, yeah, it's okay, but it doesn't do it for me now. It's all right. And when you realize that about yourself, you're just going to realize that everything always changes, and it's so much easier when you're not grabbing onto things and saying, I'm never going to change. Oh my God, I'd still be stuck in clothing that I don't fit into. It's just like, let it go and buy stuff that makes you feel good. Like, buy clothing that makes you feel good for who you are now. I found having a box in my living room I can throw anything in as I walk by has been instrumental. Rock on with your bad self. Whatever works for you, is a system that works for you. If what you do, here's the funny thing, this is all about creating new neural pathways in your brain, and again, it's like a road trip, right? So if what you're doing gets you the result you want, keep it. Find a system that works for you. That's one of the reasons I do the one-on-one coaching, especially with ADHD people, is they're feeling like they're failing because they aren't doing a system that somebody on TikTok said, and it's like a cookie cutter thing. And I say, no, work with the unique, awesome, creative brain you have, but just make sure that what you're doing gets you the result you want in an easy, effortless way, so you'll be apt to do it again, and then just make it a habit path paving that way in your brain. So I'm always encouraging people to find what works for them and to build on that. And then when they have something that doesn't work for it, let's just approach it with curiosity. It's like curiosity and concern, and be like, oh, isn't that interesting? That's why that always falls apart there. That's why I can never find my keys, because I always come in and I have them in my hand, but then I'm trying to go hang up my coat, but then I put down the keys, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. If I always just put my keys there and I just make it a habit, my keys are always there, Yeah. Melzag, the family that loves stuff and good deals. Yes. What if I need it? And here's the cool thing. I get 2 minutes, but I will say with this, is that notion of what if I need it someday, or it's good, it might be worth something someday, all of that clinging onto is kind of a fear-based thing. It's the fear of needing it and not having it, right? And anytime you feel a fear, this is how I love explaining to myself and to other people those voices in your head, is think about any of the thoughts that you have that are fearful, that are keeping you stuck, as little scared kids in the back seat of your car. You're in the driver's seat, scared little kids in the back seat. They're going to be like, no, hang on to that, you might need it someday. And then you're stuck with stuff, right? But you also have a co-pilot who doesn't talk up as much, because usually they can't get a word in edgewise because there's little kids in the back seat. And I, as a coach, showing up on these things, I am your co-pilot, okay? I am the one that's saying to you, you know what? I bet if you needed that, you could borrow it from somebody. If you get rid of it now, if you pass it along, if you let it go, and it has happened to me. I have donated items, and then months later, after not having needed it for years, we haven't needed it, then we get it. But then instead, we don't beat ourselves up. We borrow it from somebody, and it's fine. It works out. But coming from a place of abundance to be like, if I need it, I will be able to borrow it, is a much better, more abundant feeling than, oh my God, I need to cling on to this because I might need it someday. See how the difference is like that? So on that note, I just want to say thank you for everybody who's showing up. I will do I will pin a video as to when I'm going to show up next time to do some lives. Thank you all. Do this. And I hope that helped. And if you have any other questions, you can save them for next time. I'll probably show up tomorrow. Different times of the morning because I know different people are in different schedules. But thank you so much. And I'm going to figure out how to shut this off. And I'll see you later.